What does it mean to have civic empathy, to target the emotional needs of political participants? To begin with, I researched on a few areas, such as the evolution of war, a matrix of political systems from around the world, and the concept of bricolage. I also studied the common political sentiments in Hong Kong and came up with the following few major groups. The first political group are the Pan-Democrats, represented by the majority of councillors elected into office through district elections in Hong Kong. They believe in safeguarding core values of freedom. Following this group are the leftards, also known as the protesters who believe in non-violent protests. They trust that peaceful demonstrations can influence the public sentiment. The rare protesters are not very involved, but will show up for votes and will protest when there are major issues that greatly affects their well-being. Then comes the political group of the localists, who are dedicated to putting Hong Kong first and to preserve Hong Kongers' unique cultural identity and language. Following these localists are the group of the brave protesters, who are willing to stand on the front lines to battle with the armed forces of the Hong Kong police. Finally, there are the pro-Beijing legislators who support the government no matter what, and are always keen to push Chinese patriotic sentiments to the mass. The pro-establishment following are mostly middle to old-aged, and they think protests are a disruption to social order. The question is, can we help all these different parties communicate? How can we help with the emotional strains of all these Hong Kongers during times of political uncertainty? To try to understand how emotions come into play in social movements, I used two primary research methods. The first one was to ask a group of people from different sides of the political spectrum to journal for a week, letting me know how the news made them feel. What I found out was that although the news rarely changed their original perspectives, people generally feel sad and helpless about the recent events. Another method was using a co-design workshop with a gender-balanced group of 7 people, some with design backgrounds and some without, to tackle a few of the common emotions people feel about the political situation. For feelings of loss, the participants felt that reinforcing local identity was most important. For feelings of powerlessness, they thought that simplifying information was helpful. And for feelings of fear, they suggested to allow people to see each other's worlds and to feel each other's feelings. This led me to my design aim to help participants in social movements release and reflect on their emotions. In turn, people can hopefully go beyond their biases and learn to take different perspectives. I then tried out different methods, for example, asking Hong Kongers to decipher the emotions of comments left under a politically charged social media post. Participants actually found that there were overlaps between the emotions of the commenters and themselves. However, it was hard to overcome the initial rejection of an opposing political view. Then, I had participants listen to a popular letter from a middle-aged man to youth protesters. This was most well received as all participants felt it was sincere and has a lot of depth. Finally, I had participants watch a short interview with a foreign activist to see whether youth activists from another country can echo sentiments of local protesters. However, participants felt detached and also that her attitude does not work in the local political climate. That's how I came to my design criteria, to use personal messages to encourage empathetic listening. This is the design scenario. The installation is a soundproof booth. The visitor enters, and if he is interested, he can listen to a story of how a person developed his political attitudes. The visitor has to key in his age or political views. The system offers a story not from a person of his generation or political sphere. He then has a choice to respond with his own story, with some directions to ensure the story has in-depth sharing. The story is shared to the person whom he first listened to, and he can key in his email to preserve his story or receive responses. I believe that civic empathy and perspective-taking are key to building a healthy society. So what's next? Well, building this thing, of course. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Thank you.